Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, act like you know. It's going down, I'm your captain. It's going down, I'm your captain.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to TerrorCrave. We are your hosts, Lee. Jason, how are you, dude?
Good, man. Good. It's that time of year, Lee. I'm excited, man. It's the best time of the year. Halloween's around the
Yes.
corner, going into October. Well, for me, it starts about the beginning of August. That's when my season starts. So my wife would probably argue that point, but that's when I like to start Halloween season.
Dude, well, I think all the stores agree with you because you walk in there now, it's all these Halloween stuff up right around before Labor Day. You know what I mean? All this fall stuff and
Well, it's
candies
crazy.
out there in the aisles. I mean, so you're not alone, man. This is a huge time, fantastic, fun time of the year that really kicks off all the rest of the seasons. But we're here at Halloween. I was going to ask you, my first question was, how you been? It's been a while since we've done a show, but I know because you're very busy, you're getting ready for your haunted forest.
Yeah, that's coming along. I started on that a couple of weekends ago. I started getting things and going through it. Actually set the first prop out, the entrance to the forest, which is the mausoleum that you walk through. And each year I try to change it up a little bit and add a little bit to it. I don't want to be repetitive each year, so it's going to be a little bit different. I'm still working on that part, but the biggest thing is getting the walls out, the outside walls, getting all that set up, because this thing is probably about I'd say this year it's probably going to be about 4,000 square feet altogether.
Wow, man.
Yeah, and it's like last year was about an 8-minute walkthrough, so I'm shooting for about a 10 to 12-minute walkthrough this time.
Really?
Yeah, or a 6-minute run through, which most of them turn out they're just running.
Which is what it usually turns out to be, right? Dude,
Yeah,
that's exciting, man. That's pretty awesome. So it does take around how long for you to set it up, really? Like you said, is it really beginning of August or like maybe beginning of September? Or when does it start when does the forest of fear start to appear?
I I really I can if I get a start on it around middle of September, and that means not just going and setting it up, but drawing up the plans for deciding what new attractions I'm going to put in it, what old attractions I'm going to add to it. Um, of course, the way things are now with COVID restrictions and different things, I have to decide how many people, how many actors, like live actors, I'll have in it, and that determines the static props or the animatronics. So if
Right.
when we're not in the middle of or I guess we're a little bit through the middle of it, the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where we are with the pandemic.
I know,
It's
right?
back
I
in.
don't think anybody does anymore, man.
No, so with me, I love the live actors. I think that's what gets people. I love when you walk in there and you don't know if it's a static prop, an animatronic, or it's a live person. That's the favorite thing. I like that
Yeah.
because you could walk past 3 or 4 static props and nothing, and then you get to the live person and they're come after you with a chainsaw, or it's Pennywise and he's grabbing Georgie and pulling him through the sewer or whatever. So I really have to. Right now, I think I'm good on live actors. So I'll probably have. I'm not going to say how many live actors I'm going to.
Yeah,
That'll give it away.
exactly, man. Keep that little air of mystery up about it.
Yeah, I have been late before, probably a couple years back, where I got everything set up in probably about 3 weekends, and I was setting stuff. And this is every year though. I'm setting stuff up on Halloween or the first night that I run it, which this year will be the 30th, I guess. But I usually run it a couple nights. I'd like to run it more than that, but just takes a lot of time and getting everybody together for it. But I like to get everything set up, but I'm still setting things up and I have so much stuff that I'm bringing it out right before we do the opening. And I'm
Right.
in there setting different things or adding more fog machines or, strobe lights or whatever. So I don't want to leave anybody out,
Yeah.
try to find a spot for everybody or every character.
So let me ask you, have there been times where you basically set up the house and there's some that just really just kill, no pun intended, but just like really kill. And then there's ones that you're like, okay, maybe next year it didn't quite have the effect that I was going for. Maybe not as scary, you know what I mean, or whatever. So or it doesn't get the scare. So you basically, all right, back to the drawing board. We're not gonna have that one again next year. You know what I mean? Does that
Yeah,
question make sense?
yeah. And believe it or not, I guess about 6 years ago, I added Jeepers Creepers, the creeper to it. But I didn't get a good mask. I got like the lower cost mask because I was already way above my budget for that
Budget. Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got a mask and it was okay for that year, but it didn't, people knew who it was. And then 2 years ago, I got a real good creeper mask. And I was excited because before I just went, a lot of stuff I'll get it from like Goodwill or something, old clothes or something, which
Yeah.
I really can't go in the one that's in Charlottesville anymore. They got mad because I wanted to buy a wedding dress and I was going to put blood. Anyway, that's a long story. They didn't sell it to me. But anyway, I think I bought like a long trench coat for the creeper, but it wasn't as dark as I wanted it. So 2 years ago, I bought a really nice, like, what do you call it? Oh gosh, the what the cowboys wear, but it's long and it's leather and
Trench coat?
it's a trench coat, but it's I can't remember what you call them anyway, but it's just like the one the creeper wore. And
Okay.
I bought the hat that the creeper had. I bought the real good mask. I was really proud to announce that he was going to, new and improved creeper. And I set him up and had a good little scene for him. And I don't think he got a good, people were just like, oh, they just like, no, stay there and look at him for me. Stare. I think the best attraction that I've ever put in there, I have one of my kids, one of the twins, plays Pennywise. And the way that you go down through there, when you're coming back up through, you're against my house. And you know how my back patio is, it has that retaining wall that's
Yeah.
about chest high. So you can't see the patio. All that you see is the plastic, the walls. And I had it cut out like a sewer, like a drain inlet.
Yeah.
And he was down on the patio looking, he was standing there just like looking. And I had my youngest son dressed as Georgie. And he would, entice Georgie over with the balloon. Georgie got close and he'd reach up and grab him and pull him through. And I guess Ethan, my youngest son, got pulled through probably, I don't know, 300 or 400 times that night,
Right.
for all the people going through. But people loved it. They said, oh man, the Pennywise scene, the it scene that with Georgie and Pennywise, and they loved it. And they had no idea. Actually, honestly, I didn't know that he was going to pull him through. I thought he was just calling him over to look. So when I did my initial walkthrough and they showed me, I was like, hey, I was like, oh, all right, he's all right. So, but I think that works good. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, that's always a good one.
That's cool, man.
It's some good ones. And of course, I got Reagan last year, which you can't find this prop anymore. She's animatronic. You can find ones like her, but you can't find this one. She's one of the original ones. And I put her out there last year for the first time. And I like her out there, but I'm nervous to put her out there because to me, she's kind of a collector's item now.
Right.
So.
And when all that hustle and bustle and people get to move and anything can happen out there.
Yeah.
You don't want that thing broken.
I'm going to have to hire security.
Yeah,
security.
Man. So your boys like taking a part of it? They do?
They do. The one that plays Pennywise, he's not as into it as his twin brother, Gabe. Gabe loves it. And Gabe's tall. He's a good Leatherface. And with Tyler, he never got into it until I got the Pennywise costume. Then he loved it. And he plays that character good. I don't know if it's because he's behind the mask or what it is, but he's really laid back and not shy, but he's just not like a people person.
Right.
And but when he's in the Pennywise costume, all bets are off, man.
He turns
you never know. Yeah. And I always have balloons everywhere. And he tries to hand balloons out to the kids, and they're like, nope, I don't want no balloon.
Not today, Pennywise. Not today.
Yeah, not today. Seen that movie. Man.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's really cool, man. It is an awesome time of the year. We're both fans of this, of the Halloween, just the atmosphere of it, in the fall and everything like that. So that's really cool. And guys, obviously we're going to be talking a lot about You know, the Forest of Fear that's coming up with Jason and all of that. I think we're even going to try to do a show from the Forest of Fear. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be really cool as well. So yeah, man, stick with us and keep checking it out. But Jason, I mean, like I said, it's been a while since we did a show. You know, we were on a quick little break, dude. So much has been going on, man. We've had the American Horror Story start. I think we talked about that on
Yeah.
our last show, but since then it has started and ended now. Part one, Red
Hmm.
Tide. We want to talk about that. Walking Dead, I think, is on fire this season. I think they are on fire. I am loving everything that's going on with those guys. And since we talked also, Malignant has come out by
Yeah.
James Wan, who, as we all know, uh, if you're a fan of horror, you know James Wan. He did the Conjuring films, the Insidious films, the Saw films. Over the past 15 or so years, he's made a huge splash in horror. And also, being a fan of comic books, he's done Aquaman also.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was, and he's got the sequel of that one coming out also. But dude, so much has happened. Where do we start, man? What do you want to get into first?
Well, you know, those shows always come on in the fall, or they premiere in the fall. Walking
Yeah,
Dead and American Horror Story and The Strain a couple of years ago. You know, it's always
yeah,
like this time of year the good ones come out. And you know, when we were kids, Lee, you remember Halloween? There were just certain movies that came out, and you know, like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. You know,
yeah.
the only time you saw that was at Halloween time. It's different now. You can watch scary movies all year long, but it's still something about this time of year, you know,
Yeah.
when the fall's coming in, it's getting a little bit cooler, the air's a little crisper, you know, that smell of the leaves falling. And it's just something about this time of year, man. And when you get these shows like you said, for The Walking Dead, it this season, man, compared to the last few, there's no comparison. And it's kind of messed up because it's the last season, and we're going to be sitting here like, I want more, you know, give me
Yeah.
more. And I know there's some spinoffs coming off, and what's the World Beyond that premieres this
It does.
week?
This Sunday after The Walking Dead, it will come on. I know a lot of people were kind of turned off by that. Excuse me, but I know that it's got to be. I I made it past. If you make it past the first couple shows, I think it is good, and I think this show is going to be very vital to plots moving forward of The Walking Dead. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I was
but
talking to
this
my
is the
cousin
final
Nate.
season for that, right?
Yes, excuse me again. It is the very first. It is the. It was when it was first announced, it was supposed to be an ongoing series, but it's
Yeah.
since been called a special series or not a mini series, but it's a special phrase they call it. But it's only been running 2 seasons now, and that
Yeah,
was even announced before the first season started.
right. But I can see where some people may have been turned off.
Limited series, sorry, limited series is what it's
Yeah,
called. Yeah,
yeah. But I can see where people may have been turned off by it. It's filmed different from The Walking Dead.
and it focused on children, and it was kind of like I said. I think it was. I know my cousin, for instance, Cynthia, if you're watching, I'm going to talk about you. She's a huge Walking Dead fan. You know, we are always texting about it after new episodes and stuff. And she just gave up after 2 episodes of World Beyond. She just couldn't do it. She said she couldn't get past it. It just seemed too. It was like a junior version, you know, because it was
Yeah,
focusing on the kids. But I think it got better as it went on. It was only what
agree.
six episodes, or maybe seven
Yeah,
episodes anyway. It was really a short amount. Um, and then, like I said, I really do think they're going to use this limited series, The World Beyond, as uncovering and revealing some great plot points of how the show is going to continue on. Because as you
yeah,
just said, we're talking about one of the shows now, World Beyond. We've got the Fear the Walking Dead that's still out there. We've
yeah,
got whatchamacallit coming back out, the Rick movies that they
yeah.
say they're still going to make. And then we've got the Daryl and Carol
So yeah, the spinoff
road
coming.
show, you know what I mean? So it will live on.
Yeah,
But I just want to go back and talk about the Walking Dead really quickly and just say how they found it's like Walking Dead series has always had horror things in the background, and it's always focused, you know, but it's always focused on the people, which I think was what made it good too. And I always tell people that it's not just about them fighting and they don't even call them zombies or walkers or chompers or whatever region of the United States you're in
biters.
is what
Yeah,
they call them, biters. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's not about that every week. They're in the background. It's all about the human stuff that's going on. But I will say that this season it's remembered it's a horror show.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's remembered that it's a horror show. There have been some great, awesome, I would say scary, creepy episodes. No more, look no further than the one that just came out this past week, Feral. Dude, that one was great. I thought that was really good. I mean, it was, with Connie, she came back, the hearing impaired girl, and she was trapped in that haunted house or what have you, or the quote unquote haunted house.
Yeah.
And then those feral people that were in there, man, were just like, what, that thing came crawling down the hall at her. I was like, what is happening? You know what I mean? It was wild.
Well, I guess it's to the point where if you have walkers or whatever you want to call it, if you have zombies coming after you,
Yeah.
in your head now, anything is possible. I mean, there could be ghosts out there. There could be, who knows, vampires. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't trust anything.
Well, no, I guess not. You're right. But remember, in this world, there's no. I always think it's funny that in the Walking Dead world, there's never been a zombie movie. You know what I mean?
No.
That's I don't know if you've known that. That's what they say, that in this world, there's never been there's no Night of the Living Dead films or anything like that. So to them, this is just something that's never even been created or written in
Sure.
any form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, what are these things? So they never say the word zombies, which I think is kind of interesting. But no, I think it's great. I am loving it. There was a point I was going to make about the world beyond earlier, but I can't remember it. Sorry.
Well, when they announced the World Beyond, to me, I felt like that was more like a filler for the in between the seasons of The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. It's kind of like, oh no, we have to wait. And then they kind of brought out the World Beyond, and I liked it. The first couple of shows were a little bit slow with the, where they were at and the build up and all, but man, they had, by the time they got to the second season, I mean, it was some good stuff going on, man.
Yeah. No. Well, second season starts this week. Yeah.
Was that just the first season? Yeah, I guess it was kind of like the little pause. I always get mixed up because they do they split their season. You know what I mean? Like they have the first half and then the second half of the season a few months later.
Yep. No, second season will start this week. We got Jadis coming back. I don't know if you've seen her in the previews or not, the one who took Rick.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of see exactly what happened. I don't think we'll see him, but I think we'll find out what happened to him or where he is at least, or what she did.
I think that's how it's going to tie into The Walking Dead. I think all of it's going to get tied in that way, but it would be awesome if, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I almost expect Rick to show up at the end of The Walking Dead, for the season finale or something. He almost has to for where they're going at this point. He almost has to. And am I mistaken where the world beyond, where they're going, where their father is at, isn't that not the same place that Eugene and them are at now?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that is the same place. If I'm going to bet money that's not the same spot.
Not the same place.
No, they're not. But they don't seem to be the same soldiers. I know the Fear the Walking Dead has touched on those soldiers or what have you that are
and the helicopters
in the world beyond. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that they've started to introduce that, but that town that they're at, that Eugene and those guys are at, the Commonwealth, is that what it's called?
The Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's not the same place as where the helicopter.
Do you trust that? Would you stay at that place, the Commonwealth, if you wandered up there?
Yeah.
It had me when.
It depends on where I came from. You know what I mean? If I had come from Hilltop, but that was thriving at one point throughout those 6 years or whatever, then still I'd probably want to stay because they are way ahead. Even when Hilltop and Alexandria were at the top of their game, these guys have it going on way more than they ever had. You know what I mean? So I think I'd be interested in staying for sure.
I would be a little suspicious at first, but if I walked past that bakery and saw the donuts and everything inside, yeah, I would just stay. I'd say, who? What do you mean? There's people back where? Alex, what?
No.
Alex, what?
Oh no, you didn't ask me if I would just leave my. Oh, now I get the question. Okay, you're saying if I'm Eugene and them, would I just totally forget about those guys back at the house or back at
If
the
the
house?
Commonwealth is saying that if you leave, you can't come back.
Oh man, no, I couldn't leave my people. I couldn't. Not my family. They're family at this point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So no, I now I don't even if I'm just wandering around and I came across the Commonwealth, would I leave? Would I stay? Hell yeah, I'd stay. But now if I'm Eugene and those guys, I don't think I would leave. Just stay and forget about all the people back home. I
What if
couldn't.
you were the younger girl? I can't. What's her name? With
Oh,
the
who's
pink?
never even met
Yeah,
Princess?
yeah,
Is it
princess.
Prince?
Yeah,
Yeah.
princess.
Then that's a different story. I mean,
Yeah, I'd be
I
like, hey,
mean,
good luck to you and your friends. I hope you make it back. But they got
yeah, I mean,
donuts and they gave them a
yeah,
$2 bill back, so I'm staying.
right. Yeah, exactly. So that's a different story. If I was picked up along the road and with Eugene and the King and all those guys, then yeah, that's a different thing. That's a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
story altogether. No,
I'd
but
be good.
I'm really enjoying it, and it's coming to an end soon. I think we've only got two more episodes before it goes on its winter break.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's right. But no, there's a lot of cool stuff going on, man. What's going to happen with Daryl is pretty interesting. But I think I'm getting tired of that, him always being
I was
captured
tired
and
of
then
him
the
after the
same.
second season, man.
Well, see, I'm
I,
not tired of the character. I know you have been. You're not a fan. That's true. I'm
no,
more, yeah, go ahead.
I've never been on the Daryl bandwagon. I don't understand why people jump. I'm probably gonna get hated for this, but I've never been a fan of Daryl. I think that he
Right.
was fine for the first couple of seasons, but if they were gonna start taking out main players, he would have been one of the top of my list.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But so I'm not going as far as you would say. I actually like the character of Daryl. What I'm tired of seeing Daryl is getting put in these situations like he was with Negan, and now he's with them. You know what I mean? He's kind
Yeah,
of always being. And then he was like, didn't he stay with the governor for a while? Or maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe they got Merle. But I think they captured Daryl, and he was mixed up with them for a while. He's
Merle
always getting
tried to get him to join with them.
yeah,
Yeah,
so he's
that's right.
always getting caught up with these things, and then
Yeah,
and now it's happening with this girl again, and he's
yeah,
taking the funk and acting like he's part of the group, So I think that's just a tired storyline,
yeah.
unfortunately. I do like what's happening with Megan and um,
Maggie.
Maggie. Thank you. I do like the friction that's happening there. You know what I mean? They're just antagonizing each other. Really, Mag is antagonizing him. He's just antagonizing her by being alive. Uh, you
Well,
know what I mean?
I'll say this before too many people hate me for this and um
Maggie.
Daryl.
Oh, Daryl.
Yeah, before too many people diss me for Daryl. If it wasn't for Daryl, Glenn would still be alive.
Well, that is true. There's no question. He had killed Abraham. He
Yep.
had made his point, but because Daryl jumped up and because he was all up in Rosalita's face, and that's why
Yep.
Daryl tried to defend her honor. And that's where it
Yep.
went bad. And then he killed Glenn. True, very true, man, very true. But all I know is that I am enjoying the hell out of this Walking Dead season. I think it's
Hmm.
great, and it is going to make it even more sad, I guess, when it goes. But hey, 11 years, 10 years is a good run. You know what I
Do you
mean?
think they're going to kill a lot of people off?
I do think there'll be some more deaths. I wouldn't say they're going to kill a lot of people off,
Hmm.
but I definitely see. I can't see them killing like basically the whole cast and just Daryl and Carol making it out of there alive or something. I don't think that's going to happen. But it'll be interesting to see who does make it, who
Yeah.
doesn't. I know that Rick died in the comic books
Yeah.
um, in this city, Commonwealth, that they have found. He died there, so maybe somebody's going to have to take his place. You know what I mean? There's got to be
Oh
some major
yeah.
death. You know what I mean? That happens. So I think that, and so that, if we do that, if we think about it like that, then it will be, maybe it will be, no, it can't be Daryl because he's having his own little spinoff, but it'll be another main character, male character, maybe, who knows? But I think because usually they find somebody to, because Andrea, she didn't get
Yeah.
killed in the
Right. She
show,
lived
but they
on.
took, yeah, and they had Michonne, kind of take a lot of her, they'll kill other people in the show that didn't die in the comics, or sometimes vice versa, but then have that other character take that other person's storylines and run with it. So I think
Well,
if they
didn't
do
Rick
that with
lost his
this,
hand in the comics
dealing,
too, right?
he did, dealing with the governor. So way back then, he lost his
Yep.
hand. So majority of the Walking Dead run, he was a one-handed dude.
Well, to me, I always thought in the comics that actually Carl was the main character for the
Really? Okay.
comics. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He was the one that was. It started with him as a kid, and he was going to keep going. And I don't think Rick was as much. He was one of the main characters. I don't think he was the main character in the comics. I always
Right.
felt there was more Carl.
Well, I honestly didn't read. I read up to a certain point of comics and years ago, even to the point where they got at the prison. So I mean, there's been a lot of storyline since then that I haven't read. You know what I mean? That I haven't read. So I don't can't tell you if that was the case or from my point of view or not. But I think that's interesting though that Carl and he does go on to be, the story at that point kind of focuses on him, and I think
Mhm.
comics ended, and then it jumped a few years in time, and Rick or Carl was a grown man at that point, maybe had a kid of his own. So, yeah, and so like you said, that has to change too because Carl died. He didn't die in the comics.
No, and it kind of. Well, is there even a did he have a little sister in the comics? I don't even
He did, but
know.
I think she died when Lori was running with her at the prison. I think both
Yeah,
Lori and the baby got shot. If I'm, you know, and that
yeah,
I think that's how it went down. Because Lori did die in the comics. She got shot at the prison when they were being overrun by the governor's team or
right.
gang. But yeah, I don't know, man. But no, it's been great, and I am looking forward to seeing how it does all wind up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the World Beyond, and then Fear the
Yeah,
Walking Dead should be right around the corner.
yeah.
So yeah, man. So all good stuff about The Walking Dead. Another horror show that's been on is American Horror Story. You and I talked about that a few weeks ago. I think we'd only when it very first started. Um, we both agreed that it started out really strong, or at least the
Yeah.
episodes that we had watched at that point were really strong. I am curious now that Red Tide, the whole that story is all done and wrapped up. I'm curious to know your thoughts.
I like it. I like it. I the part about going out to once they moved to Hollywood right in the last episode was a little bit weird to me. I like it when they make it more like it's set to a certain community and it's not as much like global. To me, it's more believable if it's in one area. And now, I mean, it kind of was a metaphor, with Hollywood, the bloodsuckers in
Yeah,
Hollywood, and now this. But it was good, but it was weird to see it take place in Hollywood where you've got, what do they call them? The Grays, or what were they calling these?
gray
Um,
people, great.
yeah,
Yeah,
when they're just like, you see a police officer and he's walking down, the next thing you know, he's on top of somebody biting their neck off or whatever. It's
yeah,
like, hey, well, that's odd to see in Hollywood, or maybe
yeah.
not. I don't know. I've never actually been out to Hollywood, so
Right. No, I thought that like we said, I thought it took off really well, started really
mhm.
well, and I was into the characters. I was like, wow, I thought it was actually pretty creepy again. Also, I thought it was really kind of again had some more horror aspects to it,
Yeah,
as opposed to just being really gross or disturbing. It actually had that more of a horror atmosphere to it. You know what I mean? Scare
yeah,
is, I mean, I guess how and because that's how some of my favorite episodes seasons like, and I know a lot of people uh hate the Roanoke season, but I thought that was one of the scariest seasons,
I
and a lot of
thought
people
it.
that season gets a lot of hate even from the actors who were in it, but I thought it was
Yeah,
one of the scariest seasons.
no,
um
I like that season, especially the first part of it where they
yeah,
were doing like the documentaries telling. I thought that was excellent, man. I thought that
yeah,
was great.
yeah, you and me both. But so I thought this one started out great. I like you, and I like you thought that I thought the last episode as a whole, not just a Hollywood piece, I thought that really just dropped the ball. Now, there are a
Yeah.
couple things about American Horror Story that I don't like. I feel like they skip over so much stuff sometimes. Like something happens in one episode, and then you're like, oh, like when the sheriff got killed, when the little girl ripped her throat out, there was nothing that was said about that ever. They didn't talk about that. We didn't get to see the characters dealing with it
No,
or
not until now
anything.
who was it? The state police lady showed up because
Yeah,
she
but
was
that
now
was all.
investigating. Yeah, but yeah, like I agree, the same thing. They brought her in. I said, oh, here we go. Now there's another person going to be in on it. And the town council is just like, best thing you can do is turn around and walk, forget
Yeah,
about this. They're like, come on, man, make it realistic. Do you think that would happen with a state trooper? I mean, okay, I'll leave you people here alone. No, I mean,
right.
it's just, I think that they should have just stayed with that instead of the whole move to Hollywood, have the state police come in. And even if it was like, all right, well, I don't know what in the world's going on here, but we've killed these people and I don't know what's wrong with this person. And their teeth are ground down to fangs. And,
Yeah,
I think they should have stayed that way instead of going out to Hollywood with it. And I don't know, what they try to end off on a happy note for, the little
yeah.
girl. And I don't know, man.
No,
The final episode was a little bit of a letdown to me.
yeah. And I just think going back to the sheriff, I just feel like, because that didn't happen. They didn't bring it up until the guy was on his boat and did he run into her or he was catching, maybe he pulled her up. I forgot what.
Yeah.
And they came across her, and that's when and to your point, they brought the state police was in the town council, which I thought that was funny though. That guy, I guess, he played in True Blood is where I first got to know him from.
Yeah.
And I can't recall his character's name in True Blood, but then he's been throughout a lot of the American Horror Story since the first season. The first season, he was the burn guy, who was walking
Yeah.
around. But in this particular series, he was comic relief. You know what I mean? He was funny, but he was like he went and saw you know Francis Conroy's character and
Evan
the other guy,
Peters.
Evan Peters' character, and was like, I stopped a Burger King. I stopped a Burger King from coming here. I can stop you guys. You know what I mean? He just was laying down the law. But I would have liked, much like you, I would have liked to have seen, even when they set up that little plan, which I thought came out of nowhere. How did Ursula know to be able to go talk to the Greys and that they could understand her and say, go stop them? You know what I mean? Which I thought that was just a crazy plan, that they all of a sudden, these people who have shown no thought process or have any type of, being able to communicate in any way,
Yeah.
are now listening to her and doing what she says. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I just felt that was random that she was able to do that. And another thing that I thought was weird, they go and they say, like I said, they bring up these plot points and they leave them alone forever. The little girl and Ursula, when they were walking to the chemist, and they
Yeah.
see the mom, and I would have liked. I guess they did kind of answer that because I guess they had a plot made that didn't come to fruition until the very last episode. But where's the wife's? What I thought, and I called it what was going to happen to the wife. I knew she had no talent, and I said she's going to take one of those pills. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
But where is the wife's family, or just anyone asking where this lady disappeared to? You know what I mean?
Nobody wanted to come and see the baby.
I mean,
The baby's
yeah.
being born. Man, her mom or somebody would want to come see the baby. Oh, I'm sure in the
Yeah.
movie they're all of her family's deceased.
Yeah, or maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. That's what you had. But it was just really interesting that was the case. I just thought it
Yeah,
was wild.
up to that one, I thought that was great, but I think that was a letdown. They should have changed that up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I'm curious to see it. So I did enjoy it, but the last episode was a huge letdown, and also these little jumps in logic, a lot were weird to me. I am curious to see what the next few episodes bring. Now they're moving into what is it called, Death Valley?
Is that what it is? I can't remember what it was called, honestly.
Yeah, I know that starts this week, so that'll be interesting to see where they go.
And it doesn't look like they're bringing the same characters. I mean, the same actors, right? I don't see any of the same actors in this.
I don't think so, but somehow they've said that Death Valley will connect to Red Tide. And my guess is it's going to be the chemist, because when she was talking about being in this government facility,
Oh,
when they
in the military. Gotcha.
so I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that will be the connection somehow. You know what I mean?
Maybe this takes place before she leaves the military.
Maybe,
Hmm.
who knows? But all in all, I did enjoy the majority of the season. Besides those little critiques that I
Yeah.
had, and I think
I'm
the
good.
last episode could have been much stronger also. But
Yeah.
and so guys, tune in as we next week, as we'll definitely be talking about the newest episode of Death Valley.
Yeah.
So, my friend, we also another thing that's popped. We talked about Malignant. We both had a chance to watch that movie. Um, I thought that I'll let you kick it off, man, and tell us what you thought about it. What were your opinions on it? Where is it? Like it? Were you surprised by it?
I thought the first probably 2/3 of the movie was pretty decent. Um I To me they turned it into what was the guy's name? Mandrake or whatever, with the guy that had the head on the back of his, or the face on
Yeah,
the back of his head, and he ended up committing suicide because the one on the back, he said it wouldn't stop talking all the time talking. But to me it reminded me of the same thing, and that was just weird, man. It was just weird. That I could understand if somebody has a split personality or something, but all of a sudden the back of their head opens up and this other thing comes out. I don't know. You lost it. I was just lost at that point, man. I thought up to that point it was something going on where, there was a demon that she had been, attracted to or attached to a demon as a child, and somehow that she had gotten it out of her memory. She didn't remember it, and now that memory was
right.
sparked, and the demon started showing back up. You know what I mean? She didn't
Yeah.
think about it for so long, and all of a sudden something triggered her, and it started coming back around. But I don't know. What did you think? Were you on the same or?
I liked it. I really enjoyed it, man. I did, and I'll tell you why. Um, First of all, I thought, to your point, and I think the first 2/3 of it, when you do think it's a supernatural entity, um, I thought that it was filmed, and just the way he does his stuff, like James Wan. I mean, I thought it was pretty scary again. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's creeping me out. I think I lost a little bit of that scary factor when the cop was able to fight it. And then I was like, okay, so this is a real thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is a killer. It's not some ghost or whatever. When the cop when he came to the crime scene and
Yeah.
he was fighting it. And then I thought for sure he was such a fool. I was like, we're watching this dude run to his death. Why would anybody chase this crazy thing that you saw deep
Yeah.
into the bowels of some
Nope.
building,
Just let it go.
isolated, and the way it was moving and stuff like that? I was like, this fool, is really running to his death right now.
Yeah.
Like just an idiot. Unfortunately, he didn't die, so that was surprising. But what I was going to say is, so I thought that was scary. I honestly, a movie, it endears me to it when I don't see the end coming, when I haven't been able to force it, pick up and understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And until they show that thing on the back of her head in the videotape when the mother and daughter, her sister, were watching it, I had no idea. I didn't, Jason. Maybe people think I'm a fool, but I did not. I mean, and then when it was like, we're gonna wake him up now. You know what I mean? And then she
Yeah.
turned around. It's like it has the camera follow her, and then it was like woke up. I was like, ah, I was like, oh God, what is that? And so it just I did not see the end coming. And then I mean, it was almost, and then the action, then it became an action adventure for the
Yeah.
last 30 minutes of the film. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't like the way it ended. I would have liked to have seen. I mean, is she in jail? I mean, are they going to say she's innocent of these crimes that she's committed? I didn't see, and I also I didn't know that was the mother that was up in the. I didn't know that's where the thing was holding that woman in the attic. Like that was very surprising to me when she fell down. So I didn't. The movie surprised me in so many ways, and that is why I really enjoyed it. Like I didn't know anything. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand what was going on. I couldn't figure it out. You know what I mean? I just couldn't, and I loved it for that
I had
reason.
I had a dumb moment because as soon as the movie was over, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would this thing come? You know, and I turned it off. And of course, I watch most of my scary stuff after my wife has gone to bed because she doesn't like that stuff. So I
Yeah.
watched it and I'm turning everything off and I'm going over and I turned the light off. And I go, oh, Malignant. You know, like it all made sense. I was like, oh, well, all
Right.
right. You just got an extra point back just because of the name.
Yeah.
Now it made sense. So
Yeah. You know, yeah. So I mean, that all those reasons is why I think I really enjoyed it. And
yeah,
it really took me by surprise. And I also just loved the soundtrack that was happening. The little, not techno, but it was that little old I mean the music that would play during some of the suspenseful scenes.
yeah,
It was almost John Carpenter-ish.
right.
Um the synthesizer, that's what I was looking for, the word. It wasn't that kind of like
Like, yeah, kind of like 80s, like maybe
yeah.
early 80s type music. And then, yeah, I dig that too. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I
Thought that
really
was pretty
enjoyed
good.
that to it. So, so that's why, I mean, I know it didn't do very well in theaters. I don't know
No.
if that's because of, well, it was also released on HBO Max the same day. So, well, that's always an argument. The Warner Brothers films are not hitting as they as they should be these past few months, and it is because I think a lot of it has to do with being released simultaneously on HBO Max. Even though I love the fact that
I
it's
do
released
too, man.
simultaneously on
I
HBO
do
Max,
too.
I'm watching them. But
Yeah.
Malignant didn't do well. Suicide Squad didn't do well. Some of these movies, quite a few of them actually haven't done well in theaters, but they're really hitting on HBO Max.
Well, Black Widow, right? That didn't do too well when it came
Black
out
Widow
on
was
Disney.
on Disney Plus though. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a different story. Yeah, that came on Disney Plus, but you had to pay extra for that too. But it didn't
Oh,
do nearly as on Disney Plus. You have to. So HBO
okay.
Max, you just get them for free same
Yeah, for
day.
like a month or
Not
something. Yeah.
Yeah, for a month, and but HBO or Disney Plus, if you wanted to do it, what they were doing is to get it the same day as it released in theaters.
Like
You
a
had to pay
pay-per-view, old
you
school
had to pay
pay-per-view.
$30, but then you get it forever on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's
Yeah,
not bad, man. I mean, if
yeah,
you
it's
went
not.
to the theater and then you bought the movie on DVD afterwards, you'd be spending that much anyway.
Yeah, but then you always gonna have Disney Plus because then that movie you bought is all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I guess for all intents and purposes, I don't see myself getting rid of Disney Plus anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
but
Oh, I
but
forgot to
yes,
say, I don't mean to jump back, but I have to go back to American Horror Story just for a moment because there was one scene from that one. Was it the last? No, it wasn't the last one. I think it was the next to the last episode. I told my wife that it was one of the most disturbing scenes I had seen in any horror movie, and I loved it. It was when the baby was born, and they took all the rags and they threw them in that
oh my
trash
God,
can, the hazardous
yes,
trash can, and he took it in the bathroom and was wringing them out into the
oh
little
my
Dixie
God,
cups and was
yeah.
taking like shots of the blood and the afterbirth. That was disturbing. That was
Yes,
I liked
it
it.
was. It
I
when
liked
he
it.
said that was a story, I liked it so much.
Yeah.
No, it was. It was. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you went back to the American Horror Story because I got to say, Macaulay Culkin I thought was awesome in this
Great
series too.
job. I hope
You
he
know,
sticks with it. I hope he stays with American Horror Story. And
yeah,
I hope this kind of launches his career back now. You know what I mean? He did a
yeah,
great job.
yeah. He really did, man. So I like you would like to see him stay around too. But he removed himself. He never got in any trouble with the law. He never went to rehab. He never did anything. He just didn't want to act anymore. You know what I mean? It just took
Yeah.
some time and was hanging and doing his thing. He didn't lose all his money. You know what I mean? he's not. But I think a lot of people think Macaulay Culkin and they think those things happened to him.
Yeah,
One of
because
those
it
things happened to
never
him,
got seen
but he
again.
never did. Yeah,
No,
he never did. He just willingly kind of stepped away from the limelight
it,
after a while.
no, he
But
wasn't the typical child actor. And I think that's
yeah,
great. I'm glad.
yep. So no, but I think he was a great addition to American Horror Story this season. And I would like to see him stick with it as well. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
all good things,
So,
man.
well, I know that there are some a lot of new movies getting ready to come out. First, I think that we would be putting ourselves behind everybody else if we didn't mention that with BT Haunts, we're not just having TerrorCrave episodes this month, but we also have our movie Night Shifter will premiere on October 13th. And then 2 weeks from there, on the 27th, we will have The Cozening, another short horror movie, will be premiering. And there's a couple of episodes from Wayward Soul Searchers that I'll be releasing out, from the investigation at St. Albans. And who knows what else? I mean, if we get a wild hair, we might just show up somewhere and film something real quick, and you never know.
Exactly, guys. Like I said, this is the fantastic time of the year for us. And there's, as Jason said, there's a lot of great things coming out that we're doing from the mastermind of Jason Butler himself, and you know, from the creative mind of Jason Butler. Get used to seeing that, guys. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's some very exciting things. It's just that great time of year, and we are here for it. We'll be back, you know, weekly, talking about great movies. In the next few weeks, we got Halloween Kills dropping.
Yeah.
You know, we were just talking about, you know, how things are dropping simultaneously. This was coming out on Peacock same day.
Is that
So
doing? Is that like the HBO Max style, or is that doing the Disney Plus where you?
It's the HBO Max style. So it's coming out
Wow.
where you just, as long as you have the paid version, because
Yeah.
Peacock has a couple different versions. You get a free version of it or whatever.
Mhm.
But as long as you have the paid version, then you get to have that movie same
Yeah.
day. So
Well, are you going to watch
it,
it at home, or are you going to go to the theater to see that?
dude? If I've got the chance to see it at the house, I think here in my own little, you know, with my surround sound and all of that, I'm going to watch it here.
Yeah.
Again, I am torn. I do love going to the theater for these reasons, for any type of awesome action adventure spectacle, because the theater is into it. I mean, I love the theater experience as long as
Yeah.
it's a packed crowd. You know, for horror movies, it's a lot of fun. You got people jumping and
Yeah.
laughing after they've jumped, and you know, screaming. And then for
But
the
it
other
has to be a
big time
great
movies,
movie.
it does have to be a great movie.
You know, a
You know,
Star Wars movie is good to see in the theater.
yeah,
Or
so
like
movies
when
like that,
Independence Day came out, stuff like that. I think those are movies that you would
want
want
to
to
see.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, those big special effects bonanzas.
Sure.
Lately, you know, lately, you know, I've been to many movie recently, man, where the crowd is applauding at the very end of it. You know what I mean? On the opening night or opening weekend, and I just love that feeling. So,
Yeah.
you know, so theater, I do love the theater experience. But with everything that's happening right now, as long as I can see it at my home, you know, I'm gonna be okay. I did go see Shang-Chi a few weeks ago for the first time in over a year. I went to the theater.
In the
to see
theater?
it. I did. With all of us went that Friday before Labor Day, the whole family.
Was it good?
It was good. I felt safe, but there was no way to see it and I could not miss a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
There was no. I wasn't gonna wait till it came out on 3 months from now or whatever. I had to see that one. I saw Black Widow though on Disney Plus. You know, they offered
Right.
Black Widow. They didn't do Shang-Chi on Disney Plus. That was
Okay.
great news. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I
No,
heard
we.
Scarlett Johansson was a little bit upset with the
Oh
whole
yeah,
Disney Plus thing.
yeah, she was. And Warner Brothers, they got ahead of that because that was a big deal when they first announced they were all coming out in theaters. But what they did is they redid a lot of their deals with like they redid their movie deals with Denzel and Keanu because they got the new Matrix coming out.
Yeah.
I know, you know,
But
Denzel
that's
had
coming
another
straight
movie
to HBO Max.
and theaters. But yes, it
Yeah.
is. But I'm
Yeah.
saying what they did is they basically cut new deals with these guys and paid them, you know, maybe gave whoever it was, let's say Denzel, for instance, they gave him another $40 million because he
Mhm.
had most of these actors have get paid on a percentage of the back end, whatever the
Sure.
total movie makes.
Right.
So when they said, "Oh, you know, this movie it was destined to like the little things or Pretty Little Things," whatever Denzel did, you know, when
I
these
like
movies
that.
are
Good
supposed to come
movie.
out in theaters. It was a good movie. When these movies are supposed to come out in the theater and they're coming on HBO Max, that's totally cutting into the box office. So
Sure.
by them saying, you know, so they're saying you're basically taking away what I potentially the money that I was going to make. So that's why they
Yeah.
cut a lot of guys to get ahead of the situation of Scarlett Johansson. That they cut these guys like Keanu and Denzel and what's her name, but Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
I
The
can't even think of her name right now.
yeah,
That's
I know
terrible.
what you're talking
Margot Robbie.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, Margot Robbie. All these stars of all the Warner Bros. Movies, they cut deals and gave them like an extra 20-30 million dollars, so they
Okay.
wouldn't have to. They would sidestep this potential problem.
I
Disney
guess
wasn't
I'd
quite
be
thinking
happy with
ahead,
that.
and yeah, right.
Yeah.
Disney obviously didn't quite think ahead, and so Scarlett has a right to, hey.
Well, I'd be mad if I were her too, because I've seen videos of like at the premieres of the X-Men. What am I thinking about? The Avengers.
Yeah.
Where they were interviewing the cast members, and they were asking them all how they, how they decided to do the character this way, all these technical questions, and then they get to her and say, "How do you stay in shape? How do you get?"
Yeah, I know.
I'd be a little bit ticked off too, man. And then they come around and they do kind of like, screwed her over with this. So
Yeah.
I can understand it, man.
Oh, I get it too. I do too, man.
Yeah.
Jason, I think we've said it all, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait
am I
until
missing anything out?
Halloween Kills, man. I'm really excited to see that one. And
Oh,
it
no,
there's only one more after that, the Halloween Ends, which we probably won't get until next Halloween.
yeah, 2022 for sure is when it's coming.
So I'm excited to see this one. I'm excited to see how The Walking Dead finishes out. I'm excited to see how with double feature, how the next feature is going to start, and I hope it's good. I don't think we're going to know a lot of the character or the actors in this one. Didn't look like it anyway, but at least they don't have the one from American Horror Stories, Cindy Crawford's daughter or whatever. at least she's not in it, because I probably wouldn't even watch it.
Oh my gosh, no,
Yeah.
yeah, she was a terrible, horrible, just terrible actress.
I wouldn't even hire her for my movies, man. I only
Oh.
top flight people here, man.
Well, that's very kind of you, my friend. Very kind. Not from her side of things, but very kind on my side of things. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, other thing is, make sure for the viewers, make sure that you tune in and watch Night Shifter. Share the video, comment that you shared it in the video, and I will be giving away awesome props from the movie.
That's so
even
cool.
though I don't really want to, I like keeping that stuff, but there's several things. Some of them may be signed scripts, which aren't really that big unless, something happens to me. But I've got some really cool, some of the costumes. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but there are some really good props that will be given away for the people that, if you share the video, you got to watch it too, to watch the movie. But it'll, share it, like it, do all that good stuff you're supposed to do with social media, and you have a chance to win one of these awesome props, man. Autographed by the whole cast.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome and very exciting, man. Very cool little thing you're putting out there, guys. Yeah, but check the movie out. It's going to be awesome. I think you guys will really enjoy it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, it has been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you as always, guys. Tune in next week as we discuss new things that are out in horror culture. And also we will discuss with Jason a little bit more about we'll talk about the Forest of Fear and the ongoing construction of that as well. I think that's going to be pretty cool as well, guys.
Yeah, man.
So don't forget, that'll be held, is that October 29th and 30th? And no, just one night.
30th, 31st, and I'm probably going to have it the 29th. I know we want to do a show from there. We'll try to do something, maybe a live show.
That'd be awesome.
And yeah, I think so too. You get to hear all the screams in person. That's the best part. Screaming and crying.
Exactly, right? So guys, don't forget to check that out. We'll be talking about that as we get closer to the date. Jason, thank you very much, my friend. It's been a pleasure. You guys have a great night.
See you, Lee.